Yo, what's poppin'? So we have the Week 9 power rankings. So I'm gonna start off with the East region because why not? Next week I will do a split and a combined, but this week because combined doesn't actually mean anything right now because it's nothing really like whatever. I'm just gonna do split still, but after next week I will do a combined heading into the tournament where they will be playing each other, which is cool. But for now, just going to do the split. And starting off, number 7, huge surprise to Guangzhou Charge because they suck. Guangzhou really not that strong. They lose to Chengdu, lose to Seoul. They win sometimes. They win a map off Chengdu because Choi Se-won is just a beast, and Choi Se-won has been a beast the entire season, but they have nothing with him. Just sadness if you're a Chengdu fan, and there is no sign that this is going to get better. They just stopped playing Rio entirely, which I think is okay, but you still should probably play him on like Gibraltar and maps like that, where the Winston is kind of necessary. But I do like playing Krong more. I like the steps they're taking. This team just doesn't have it. They do not have that dog in it. Coming on at number 6 is actually the LA Valiant. So they drop 3 spots or 2 spots from the power rankings of last week that I have above me, and it's a little interesting because I feel like they're not bad, but they get 3-0'd by Chengdu, who they needed to beat to qualify if they wanted a chance to qualify, and then they get rolled by Shanghai. They just get rolled 6 maps straight, basically. And I still don't like their Zarya. I think there's just no reason to play Zarya here. It's not like they struggle with Marvel in. They look better with Marvel in. I don't really see the vision of playing Sawson like at all. I think he still has value to be on the team because he is a very talented Zarya, but just playing him this meta, I don't love it at all, really. I don't know. I feel like also subbing out Dia. I understand that maybe Ezhan is the better Sojourn, and Dia maybe is only there for like the Widowmaker, but I don't know. I feel like Dia should probably be. It feels weird seeing Dia subbed out because he's just so talented. But I guess you have 5 DPS, you're going to use them. So whatever. The biggest thing for me is the Zarya comps. Not a fan of it, and I don't think it's really been that valuable for this team. Number 5 is going to be the Philadelphia Fusion. So they actually move up a spot because even though they beat the Spark, basically is why they move up a spot, and then they get rolled by Shanghai. I was very close on which way I wanted these two to go, but I feel like Valiant's issues are much more like compositional, and Philly can, if they play the way they are playing, they're not going to find many wins, but they still have the ability to get better. I feel like people call them inconsistent, but I think they've been kind of consistent this stage overall. They lose to 3-2 to the Valiant in their first week, then they lose 3-1 to Chengdu, and then they beat Spark 3-2, and then they lose to Shanghai 3-0. But I feel like their gameplay has been largely consistent across those games. Probably played a little bit better against Spark than they have in the other ones. But I don't know, something's missing with this team. Zest doesn't have the same pop that he had. They stopped playing Carpe this week. I don't know if I love that because I think Carpe has a place on this team still, and MN3 hasn't really super impressed me. I feel like Carpe still has a role to play on this roster, and I kind of don't like that they're just playing MN3, but I guess that's better than just subbing him in whenever they want or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This team can go higher. They have the potential to go higher. They're probably going to qualify for the tournament. I think Chengdu still has a chance, technically, but it would require Philly losing to, let me see. Philly would have to lose to Charge and Seoul, is that correct? If they... No, Chengdu has a chance if they beat both Shanghai and the Spark. Even if Philly beat the Charge, they have a chance. So that'll be interesting to see. Definitely watch out for that, but I don't know. They're Philly. Going to number 4, the Chengdu Hunters. So they move up a spot. Chengdu kind of coming together as a team. Yeah, they beat the Charge and Valiant. So those are 2 pretty low-level teams, right? but I think it's enough to warrant moving them above Philly because they have like a real plan. They have actual like ideas on this team. Sure, some of the time it involves lip deadlifting or not lip leave, sorry, deadlifting, and that's not a bad strategy because he is one of the best players in the league. But Jinmu actually being able to play the Tracer and not be a detriment does help this team a lot. I think their ability to recognize when they want to play the Winston or the ball is very good because the Gaga Winston has actually been good for this team. People are crediting the ball for them, but it hasn't. To me, it's been the Winston more because they recognize when they can swap off to the Winston because there's no Zenyatta or whatever the reason is, um, and they actually do that quite well. So yeah, I suppose. Moving on to number 3 is going to be the Spark. Yes, they lose to Philly. Yes, they get rolled by Shanghai. But I feel like I can't put them below Charge or Chengdu right now. If these two teams played, which they do next week, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I don't know. I don't feel comfortable putting the Spark down that low, just because they lose. Oh no, they don't lose to Shanghai. They lost to Seoul. Sorry, because they lose to Seoul and they play Philly close. I don't feel comfortable putting them with Chengdu, who just beat Valiant and Charge, right? Two not great teams as of right now. But we'll see. Spark, something's kind of not clicking right with this team. I don't know. I feel like they have a similar problem to Charge in a way, whereas they're just giving up on Gushue entirely. I don't know if you can afford to do that because Bernard Ball, it's all right, but unless it's an actual really good ball point, I don't rate it that highly. Like on Watchpoint Gibraltar, I don't know how much I rate the Bernard Ball, just based on like how he has to dive up on the high ground and stuff. And also Alpha Yi, maybe not as dominant as he was at the start of at the beginning of the season, but Shy has stepped up a little bit, I think, and Shy's been very good on the Sojourn or the Ash or whatever it is. We saw Architect come in on support. I don't like that. I don't think that's necessary, especially because he's playing like main support sometimes. I don't know. You have deep pocket Spark. Just go sign a flex support or whatever you want to sign if you don't like Super Rich anymore. I don't think Super Rich has played particularly bad either. Yeah, he's not been fantastic, but he's not. I don't think he's Architect support level. And finally, the final two. We have Seoul and Shanghai. No real surprises there. Seoul, they're Seoul. They beat the Charge. They beat Spark handedly. Stalker getting good playtime is always nice to see. I like that. I like the kind of dynamic they have with Fitz. I don't know exactly how they decide who to go in where because they both have been playing similar things. But sure, why not? Stalker looks good, so why not play him? Smurf continues to be better at the Sigma each and every game, which is going to be helpful coming into the tournament. And I don't know. There's not much to say, really. Solar, just a solid team, flexible. Same old story, right? Shanghai, however, they do bounce back. They beat Philly easily. They beat Valiant easily. That's not a true test. We'll see how they do against. I believe they played Chengdu and Charge. Oh, they played Chengdu Charge. Yeah, so we'll see how they do against Chengdu. I do expect them to win because they have looked better. They're not like fully back to their strongest form, and I don't know if they ever will be. But I like that they brought in Fate instead of Void because they said that leadership was something they were lacking, and maybe Void just doesn't give that leadership that Fate does. And if that's what you need, there's nothing wrong with that. Their ball looks really good, and you'd see it on like Coliseum, where maybe most teams opt for the Sigma in APAC at least. I believe all the teams opt for the Sigma except for maybe Hunters in Shanghai. The ball looks good, and it doesn't look like it's really hurting them at all. You don't need to play Sigma in this meta, I think, most of the time, unless you're on Circuit Royale. But Circuit Royale is a whole different game, so it doesn't really count. It'd be interesting to see Shanghai if they continue to do this. I like what they're doing. I'm okay with just running Fate, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. So that's the APAC. Moving on to NA. Coming up, number 13, Paris Eternal. So New York was there, right? New York was there. But after they played Dallas that close with Yaki and Gang Engine on the flex support finally, I have to move them up. And Paris, yeah, they go to 5 against Toronto, but Toronto were not inspirational, right? It's not the same as Dallas. There's a bit of a difference there. So I am gonna have to put Paris below them, and I feel like they've not really improved. I don't know. I feel like they played their week 7. We're like, okay, this team looks better, and it's just been a flat line. It's just been a flat line from there. So we'll see. I like Wub did step up in that game because the previous week Wub was a bit questionable. I thought he didn't have a great time, but this week steps up. Um, and really, you can't ask for more from him. He did well. Dove had a bit of a rougher time, I think. There were a lot of times where his ults were kind of bad, but I don't know. Dove, he's doing what he can in the situation, I think. I don't think he'll ever replace Glister, to be honest with you. I think Glister's that guy. I think he's really good. And he's really good for Paris, so I don't know if he'll ever get there. I'd like to see maybe a bit more Vestola. I don't remember how much we saw him this week. I think we saw him once. I might be mistaken, but I don't know. Vestola would be cool. And then you have New York. They played Dallas close. If they continue to put Gangnam on the flex support, which I hate that they've even taken him off it, this team will be better. Because Gangnam was just phenomenal. Yaki was phenomenal. Flora popped off. Kella didn't even play. Like, Kella had an all right. He didn't play bad, which is all you can ask for, really. Myeonbong, not too impressed by Myeonbong still, but they played a good game, and they played a good enough game that they could beat a team worse than Dallas, or even could beat Dallas on a different day, maybe. Who knows? Number 13, 12, 11 is Vancouver. Vancouver's going to stay there. I was very close to putting Vancouver below New York or Paris. I wasn't sure the order of these three on where I want to put Vancouver, but Vancouver's had such a rough schedule, and yeah, they didn't look good against Shock. It was probably their worst game this stage. But if your worst game is against Shock, you're not doing too bad for yourself. The Shock is very good, so I don't know. It wasn't even like it was horrible. Their Gibraltar was all right. It was okay. Shock was better, but Vancouver's themselves was okay. I don't know. It's just a really rough schedule for Vancouver. They play Washington this week. Maybe there will be a win there. And speaking of Washington, here they are, number 10. Washington, they're Washington, right? They go to 5 against London. Maybe that's on London getting in their own head. They did actually look good one time, but I don't know. You beat London on Route 66, and you beat London on New Queen Street, where they out-rotate themselves. They rotate themselves out of the game, basically. And then Happy Decay Fund give you a map. They're good for a Happy Decay map. There's still no real cohesion here. The Kalios lineup does look better, but it still doesn't look good, right? It looks better, but it doesn't look good. And when your best comp is Sigma, and it's Kalios Sigma, and you're still not looking great, I don't know. There's something like Decay is your best. Well, Decay and Happy are your best players. Decay is better not in a dive comp, or in a dive comp rather. Happy doesn't care. You can frag out on both. This team wants to play dive, but Mag is not doing it, not allowing them to. It's quite sad. But I don't know. It's Washington. It's just Washington. Number 9 is the Toronto Defiant. Hate this team. You almost lose to Paris, which is just unreal, and then you lose to Glads. You get a map against Glads. You look good for one map against Glads. That's a win. That's a win if you're Toronto. But then going to 5 against Paris is utterly criminal. Hisu was playing lights out. Even the backline was playing good at times, but there's just not. It's this team, man. Nah. I don't know. They need something. I don't even know what they need at this point, bro. Hoppa Sigma comes in more than it needs to, I think. I don't want to see Hoppa Sigma that much. We don't need to play it that much. There's no need. You can just play Muse Doomfist. I don't know. Hisu's too good for this team to be this bad. I don't know. I'll get upset if I talk about this team. Boston uprising. Boston go really close with Florida, right? They go really close, but they don't win, and that's the thing, right? Valentine and Victoria had a fantastic time, but Crimzo, of course, playing lights out. You put in Itzel for the final map. Why do you do that? Why do you put in Itzel? You just look better with Punk. You don't need to put in Itzel. Did you really need the Winston that badly? No, Punk has a good Doomfist. You don't need the Winston that badly. It's not like Punk is stopping you from playing any dive. Just play the Doomfist instead. It's not even like the Winston's like that much better on Ilios. Why do you put him in on Ilios? Make that one make sense. Um, just make that one make sense. I don't know. I have no words. But Boston's continuing to look good. They don't make the midseason madness tournament. Right? They're just out. I believe it's set now for NA entirely. Just order. Yeah, it's set for NA. There's just order. But I don't know. It's really unlucky if you're Boston. But not good enough. Not good enough. Just stop playing Insult. Just stop playing Insult. Florida, they almost lose to Boston. They do stop doing the super switchy comp stuff where they put someone on 15 different heroes in 2 minutes. Love that. You stop playing Hydron. Maybe Xy's better in the long run. Maybe that's what you're banking on. I think Hydron was phenomenal. I don't think Xy's been good. Maybe it's Copium, but I just think Hydron was insane. And I'm really sad to see him benched. I don't know. Florida also like to run the Moira Lucio. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't know. I feel like you don't have to run it. It's not the worst. It's not why they're losing. But I don't know. This team is very mid. I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. No vibes from them. Like, what are they doing? What are their actual game plans? I don't know. Checkmate played well though. Shout out to Checkmate for that one time on Route 66. Number, what is this? 6 is the Dallas rule. So Dallas actually fall a lot. I guess I should be talking about more up there. Ice doesn't really matter. There hasn't been very many changes except Boston above Washington. But now Dallas fall a good 2 spots. And this is also them basically not playing very well against New York. And they're playing a lot of Winston still. I don't know how I feel about that. They are playing Doom and Ball as well. But Winston is their go-to. And Gurio, separate thing, separate tangent. Gurio's not good still. He had 5 final blows against New York on Circuit Royale. That's just not acceptable for an Overwatch League Widowmaker. And especially if your team is supposed to be like a top 3 team, like they were at the end of last tournament. Just not good enough. Doha has not been seen. Someone go check on Doha. Where is he? Where is Doha? Does anyone know where Doha is? What has he done to not be here? There's been Sombra gameplay. They've played Sombra. Where is Doha? Where is he? He is like one of the best Sombras. He was one of the best Sombras last season. Where is he now? You're playing Sombra, but you're not playing Doha. Where's Doha? Someone find Doha, please. But Dallas, it'd be interesting to see if they continue to try and like if they've decided this is the comp for this meta and move forward with that. But to me, it feels like they're still not set. They're still not there, and they have one more week before the tournament to do it. We'll see if they do. We'll see what their plan is. Number 5, this is the Houston Outlaws. Now, I was very torn on where to put Houston, London, and Atlanta. I knew I wanted Dallas below them, but between those 3 teams, maybe I'll talk about them all at once and go to the next 3, right? So this is how I put them. Is Atlanta, London, Houston. And I am very torn on where to put these in the order. Because to me, I feel like London would beat Atlanta, and Houston would beat London. But then Atlanta lose to Houston, but it was really close. So those 2 teams can be anywhere, but I've decided to put London in the middle. Because Atlanta, the thing about Atlanta is, I feel like they do better against more teams than Houston does. I feel like they're better consistently than London. Because Kai is probably the best Sojo, right? And we only really saw any team deal with that except for Shock. And then they take out Kai against Houston for some reason. Why do you take out Kai? I don't know. I just don't know why you take out Kai and lose 2 maps. Did they lose both of them? No, yes, they did. You lose the 2. Like, just put in Kai. Just play Kai. Make this a lesson to you that you never take out your best player ever. I don't care how good UV is. Kai is better. Kai is just that guy, right? Just don't take him out. If you don't take out Kai, you're easily top 3. You take him out, what are you doing? You're below Houston probably, right? That's what we saw. But if they take out Kai again, they're going below Houston, no doubt. And then London's hard because their schedule has been kind of easy. Like, the best team they've played is what? Florida? It's been Florida, and it was a 3-2. And they're not really one tricks, but if they're not on Rush or they're not on Sigma, it's questionable. Their Winston wasn't great. So they're only really good on those two map types, which is going to be exploited very heavily in the tournament, right? Because London's going to win a map, you're going to take them to a dive map. You're going to take them to Gibraltar. You're going to take them to Route 66, right? So if they can't play those like grounded Sigma run compositions, it's going to be a problem for them. But I feel like they have a strong, like they're very strong at the rush. They're so good at the rush that no one can hold a candle to them. We saw Washington try to mirror them. Why would you do that, Washington? What are you doing? It's not going to work. And then Houston relying pretty heavily on the Doom comp, similar to Atlanta, but the way they play the Doom comp is a little different. It's more similar now, but it is a little different, and I do really like it. And it was really close to me for me to put them above Atlanta or not, or London even. I think Houston could be. I think Houston would be London. I do, but I think London is a better team relative to the rest of the league. I think Houston just wins that specific matchup because we saw how good they played against them last stage, and they haven't not too much have really changed there between those two teams. So I don't know, but those three teams, even Dallas to an extent, I was debating where to put Dallas. Those four, this block of four teams, these ones, I don't know. I feel arguments for each of them to be above. I feel arguments for this, whatever you want, but I'm gonna go with this. And then the final two, whoops, Glad and Shock. So Shock have looked good, right? Shock have continued to look good. Gladiators have just looked better since the start of the stage. And I'm like, maybe you can argue Shock look better, but am I going to put them above the Gladiators now that they've beat Vancouver? No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, Gladiators roll a map against Washington and bring out the Roadhog. Yeah, you lose a map to Toronto, where Toronto do look good. But, like, that's the same thing. Shock lost a map to Florida. Shock lost a map to Atlanta. It's whatever, right? People lose maps. The biggest thing here is just the flexibility. Gladiators' flexibility is crazy. I think the Gladiators' backline is actually stronger than Shock's, and I know that's kind of hard to say because Shock are running Finn Violet, but Shu and Skewed, and even Funny Astro when you need to. That combination of those three are just incredible. And then that's not even talking about your flexibility with Reiner that you don't have to bring in. Well, he's not really. Well, has he been playing the ball? I don't even think he's been playing the ball very much, right? So Shock have to bring in Mikey to play ball when they want to, and I think it's been good. But you don't have to do that with Reiner, and I think that is better. And then you have Kevster and Patapon, and then you have Ons just chilling there. I don't know. Gladiators, the only thing Shock maybe have on them is Proper, but even then, Kevster and Proper match up pretty well. I think Patafon's Sojourn has been elite, probably better than Kilo's or Sam's. And Shock aren't even playing the Sojourn very much, actually. So that's another reason why I think Gladiators on top, because I do believe Sojourn is better than Hanzo. And Shock be Hanzo's Enjoyers. So I don't know. Anyway, that's going to be it for me next week. I'll do the combined, not this week. No reason to. There's just no reason to. Let me know your power rankings down below. Let me know what you heavily disagree with me on. Whatever. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Have yourself a good one.